All right, welcome back to the Grace Family Love Podcast. I'm back with you for episode number 21. And unfortunately, if you're listening to the audio version, you can't see that my lovely wife is not here with me right now. She's not feeling 100%. So if you have her contact information on social media and you reach out or follow her, would you just give her a shout out and let her know that you're thinking about her, that you're praying for her? We'd really appreciate that. I know she's shared from time to time that she's been going through some health issues and just physically how it affects her, and it's kind of sparking right now and she's not feeling great. So she's in bed. We got her about as comfortable as she can get. And so hopefully she'll just be able to rest for the rest of the night. So this is me stepping up, doing my part to kind of hold the fort down, as she would say, and keep this thing moving forward. And what I want to do is I'm going to take a break from our series that we were doing with just the 4 main causes for divorce. So stay tuned for our next episode when we're back together again. She's feeling a little bit better. We're going to talk about religion and how that can cause some problems in a marriage. What I want to do right now is I want to share with you what I hope that you'll get out of this episode. So I'm going to talk about mistakes that I've made that almost cost me my second marriage. And it's tough to say it that way, but like I said, I really want to share with you with the hopes of maybe you'll have an understanding about your spouse and maybe give you a different perspective that you didn't understand or didn't see before. And with that fresh new perspective, perhaps that will give you an opportunity to give grace and allow for an opportunity for change. Sometimes when we have new information, it gives us insight to an area that we weren't aware of. And just sometimes having knowledge is powerful, and a type of knowledge that would allow you to understand your partner better, with the understanding and hope that there still needs change. There still needs to be change, and we should expect that. So I'll talk about some mistakes that I've made, and also I'll talk about how I overcame that and really what helped me turn things around to make sure that I could be the kind of husband and the kind of father that I think my wife wanted and my kids needed. So I'm still growing. I'm still learning a lot. There's still a lot to learn. And like one of my buddies would say, I'm not going to stop growing and stop learning until the day I die. So that's the goal. I hope to be a perpetual student, which means I'm just going to constantly get better and constantly grow. And so I'll kind of go back even before Vanessa. I met Vanessa in 2006. And it was it was kind of a whirlwind of events. And when I met her, I was not in a good place. I was just living substandard, I would say. And interestingly, I was a single father at the time. And so that really, I think, helped me in a way. Although looking back, I wasn't a great father. I wasn't an exact role model that for my son that I needed to be, that I should have been. At the same time, having him in my life helped me regulate myself to make sure that I was being somewhat responsible. So I've always had a job and consistently worked and was always employed and making sure that I took care of that end and providing him what he needed. But I definitely struggled. Before that, I was just a kid with a bad attitude, and I didn't really take a lot of people's advice into consideration. I knew when to be quiet, so with the hope that people would kind of stop talking. And it's kind of mean to say it that way, but that's the best way that I could put it. I listened, but I still ended up doing whatever I wanted to do anyway. And that mentality really hurt me. I got married to my first wife when I was 18 years old. I shot off to the military in about, I think it was July of 99. And I was in Kentucky going through some training over there. And while I was in training, I met up with, who was going to be my wife. I'd met her, I know her from high school. So just having that relationship, I think since I was about 15 years old, we were together, and carrying that relationship into my, early, I guess, adulthood, late adolescence, we just ran off and got married. And we did that with all the best intentions and all these hopes and dreams. But again, my attitude and my perspective on life, it really didn't leave room for me to be that kind of loving, caring, responsible person that really made the effort to put my spouse first. So that mentality carried into my marriage and started automatically just causing some problems. And I'd already started drinking at that time, and I think I went overseas almost immediately after finishing all of my training. And during that time, I wasn't with my wife. So right off the bat, after being newlyweds, we were already separated. And that separation lasted, I want to say, about 8 months, somewhere around there. And during that time, she was pregnant with our first son. So by the time she was able to come into my life and live with me again, I think I was living in Vilseck, Germany at the time. By the time she was able to be back physically in my life, she was already near, I think, her 9th month, ready to give birth. So that whole time, during that duration of time, I was deployed. I was kind of living on my own, and there was no change or sudden feelings of responsibility that I needed to take care of a wife, that I needed to prepare for fatherhood, that I needed to prepare to have a child in the house. And so I was just winging it all the time. And I get it. You can't really be prepared for certain things. And even then, it was a complete disregard for understanding or trying to understand what was about to happen and how my life was about to change. So the transition that I made to actually, being together and living together, that wasn't very difficult. But what put a strain on our relationship was the fact that I was also a workaholic. So it was like party hard, work hard, everything full blast, 110%. And so that caused me I was always volunteering. I took the extra shifts. I volunteered for training. I volunteered to stay late. I volunteered to do the extra tasks. I was the one that was always there. And I guess you can say in a way like a model soldier, but at what cost? So it was always me. I was always the first one there. I wanted to be the last one out. I had maybe another buddy, at least one buddy of mine that we were very much in line with each other. And we were just kind of always there working hard, putting in our 110%. And we kind of just fed off each other. And so that helped me also make that decision to kind of say, oh, at least I'm not in this alone. And we would just go at it, hit it hard. So again, great soldier, terrible husband, not a good father. And I don't know how any other way to put it rather than I just put my priorities in the wrong order. I didn't make my spouse a priority. I didn't make my family a priority. And I just chose to go all in without thinking twice, without consideration for what the consequences might be. And I think part of that was because my mentality was, I'm the husband, I'm the father, that's my job. My duty is to provide, and I provide by working hard and giving my 110%. And I firmly believe that with all my heart. And again, you might have heard or remembered from a previous episode that when I considered myself the provider, it had nothing to do with affection. It had nothing to do with love. It had nothing to do with those things. And I'm not saying that I never was affectionate ever, or I never cared about my kid ever. That's not what I'm saying. I just had my priorities mixed up so that in providing for my son, my priority was not showing him affection. My priority was working so that I could provide for him. And in my mind, that was being affectionate. That was being a good provider and making sure that he had what he needed. And he did. That being said, being a workaholic, I was already, partying when it was party time, and I was getting deployed. I would volunteer for extra training. And so I might have been in my son's life, maybe about half of his first 3 years of life. That's tough. that's a realization that I came to after the growth. And it really kind of took me back to think like, man, that's a sacrifice. And I think that being in the military comes with certain sacrifices, and I give props to those people that are able to do that and have the full support of their spouse and be in agreement with what it is that they're doing and what it is they're setting out to accomplish. So props to them, because that takes a very strong commitment, very strong sense of faithfulness and who they are as a couple. And I just didn't have that. What I was doing was all about me. It was strictly I don't know, maybe prestige and how people would look at me for an opportunity to gain in rank. And ultimately what ended up happening is my family went to the wayside, and it just we weren't able to sustain that. We weren't able to stick that out. And so it started deteriorating our relationship. And so that mindset, because of my immaturity, because I didn't think that I had a problem, because I didn't think that I was wrong, because I didn't believe that what I was doing was bad, I thought that the problem would be in that I just wasn't getting enough support from my ex-wife. I wasn't getting enough support from and acknowledging all the hard work and the sacrifices that I was making, not understanding that on the other side of this relationship was a spouse that was also sacrificing, because there was no husband, no father figure. That stuff was very difficult. And at the same time, I just didn't have a good attitude. I had a bad attitude. I was inconsiderate and rude. I'm still pretty sarcastic. If Vanessa were here, she would tell you that I probably still need to work on that, and I'm working on it. But it does cause me some problems and gets me in trouble at times. Even still, so I'm growing. I'm still learning. So fast forward now into the area and the time when my previous marriage was completely deteriorated. I didn't stop and think, what did I do wrong? What could have gone differently? All I could think was what was all that for? Like, what did I gain from all of that? And even my mindset afterwards was pretty poor, pretty bad. There was no self-reflection. There was no real sense of self. And because of that, there was a lot of blame. And what happens in a lot of relationships, right, is we point the finger, we play the blame game, especially when you're not honest with yourself and with others. It's easy to lie. It's easy to lie to yourself. It's easy to lie to others, with the end game being, I want to look good in the face of all of this mess that's going on. If I can come out looking clean, looking like it's not my fault, looking like I'm not the problem, then that's enough. That's good enough for me, and that's a win. Not realizing that all I'm doing is further barricading myself into this misconception of who I am. So now I'm not even realizing who I am. Other people are not realizing who I am. And perhaps there's a lot of people that really saw through it, but they never told me. And so I didn't have somebody again to hold me accountable for what I was doing. I didn't have somebody checking me and saying, bro, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you need to get your stuff together. I didn't have that. I had people that were going at the same pace I was, people that were going through the same problems I was, people that were experiencing the same issues that I had. But because we're all in the same boat, so to speak, we didn't see each other for what we really were. Sometimes it was a pity party, and it was them bad, us good. Sometimes it was, bro, I see you working hard, man. What's up with that? How come you're working hard? Anybody would want somebody as hardworking as you. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's right. And so everybody looked at me and thought, man, that guy wouldn't hurt a fly, or that guy looks so nice. And it was I totally deceived a lot of people. And look sometimes can be deceiving. And again, I was so shameless in my approach to life that it was, if I just looked good, I'm fine with that. And I think that I spent so much energy trying to look good and look blameless that I just completely lost my way. I got lost the attitude, the lack of self-reflection, the lack of accountability, putting my priorities in the wrong order. All of those things ultimately led to a divorce. And there are several other factors that I could probably add into that. But me personally, I think that those were the things that resonate with me still. And I focus on those things because those are the things that affect me even now. So now fast forward, coming into my relationship with Vanessa, I was continuing to make the same mistakes because I hadn't had that aha moment. I didn't realize what it is that I was doing was wrong, or that there could be a better way to live and a better form of behaving, a better way of conducting myself that would bring, I guess, like honor, positivity, trustworthiness, that would allow other people to see the best in me. I was constantly on guard. I was very defensive. I thought that I was right all the time. And now amplified by my service, I'm somebody because I served in the military. I'm a veteran now. And this higher form of respect, it went to my head in a way that's like, okay, well, you can't say anything to me. Oh, have you served? No. Okay, well then what do we have to talk about? Like, you're not even on my level, which is really crazy to think about, but it really impacted me that way. And I wore it kind of like a badge that made me something greater, instead of really focusing on the servitude and the fact that even now, I'm very proud to be a veteran. I'm very proud of the people that I've served with. I'm proud of the people that continue to serve. However, my perspective is so much different. My perspective is that of what a privilege it was to have an opportunity to serve, not look at me, I served, I'm somebody. And I hope that makes sense in identifying the difference. And so when I came into my relationship with Vanessa, same mindset, same attitude, still partying hard, still working hard, still with my priorities mixed up, and just now living just crazy. I didn't have people to tell me to my face that what I was doing was wrong. It was just accepted. And again, because I surrounded myself with like-minded people, and because we're like-minded, people thought I was the greatest. People thought I was the greatest dad. People thought I was the greatest. I don't know, that I was funny and social, and I was a joy to be around. And I was kind of like a funny drunk, and fun to be around. And so there was nothing in my life to tell me to stop doing what you're doing because you're destroying yourself. There was nothing there that was putting that mirror in front of me so that I could see myself for who I was. Now, the gospel, right? I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this and be 100% honest with you. Part of the reason, if you've ever heard my story about my first day at church, I was super hungover, killer hangover, killer headache, eyes bloodshot, dried up, totally dehydrated. I need water so bad. And that was my first day in church, and everybody just kind of loved on me still, and even to the point where I was like, man, this is so awkward. Like, back up, personal space. And it just blew my mind. It blew me away. And so my first day in church, it wasn't the day that I, professed my love for the Lord and gave my life to Christ. There was none of that going on. I actually ran out before the service even started. I just was like, I can't be here. I'm sweating. I'm like, okay, everybody's probably smelling alcohol coming out of my pores. Like, I got to get out of here. This is embarrassing. So I left, and it was just a really awkward moment for me. But at the same time, something moved in my heart. Something changed, because I saw something there that I had never seen before. And it was a peace that I'd never experienced. I saw this peace in people's faces that I desperately needed. And it was like, if something just touched my heart and moved in me, and it was like, you need this. I know that you need this. And it freaked me out. It freaked me out so bad that I just bolted. I left the church, hungover and everything. I ran straight home and drank a gallon of water or something. I don't know. And so in doing that, I realized, okay, well, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something to this. And it wasn't not even a day that I thought, not even a day went by and I was like, I need to go back. There's something there that I need. There's something that I'm missing. And to be perfectly honest, right? Like I said, full disclosure, I was hungover. I was dried up, bloodshot eyes. And I went there for a girl. I went there for Vanessa. So there was no, aha moment where I was like, I need Jesus. I need to go to church. Like there was none of that was happening. I went there for the girl, because of a girl, to get the girl, and so much so that I wanted her to like me so bad that I even went hungover. Like that's just the truth. There was no magical. I didn't feel all warm and tingly inside. I didn't see Jesus or something like that. It wasn't like one of those moments. It was just a raw, really weird, kind of strange happening. But I did for the girl, and hey, I kind of worked out. So yeah. Anyway, I have to just admit to you that looking back now, it's funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but I totally thought that, one, I really did feel lucky to have Vanessa. I was like, man, she's beautiful. She's special. Like I want to be a better person when I'm around her. But I totally thought like, I'm all that. I'm so cool. Like I got this girl. She's into me. Like I got it going on. And really, I just never ironed my clothes. I probably smelled like smoke all the time from smoking. I was drinking all the time. And so I'm just like, I'm a mess. But somehow, some way I convinced myself that I had it together. I convinced myself that I was this awesome guy. I convinced myself that I was worth her sacrificing the life that she had to be in a relationship with me and be married. And I was just a mess. Like I didn't deserve her. I didn't deserve to have her love and affection. Her parents had every right to be afraid and to just with all of their might tell her like, please don't be with this guy. He is terrible. He is not for you. He's this, that, and the other. I was all of those things and then some, because they didn't know me, the real me, for who I was. And that's just what they saw from afar. So I can't imagine if they would have just known me from before. I mean, man, it was, oh, God bless him. God bless him for, for having to go through all of that and just be patient, because I'll tell you what, man, as a father now with a daughter, I cannot imagine my daughter going out with some loser and just totally a mess and not intervene and get crazy. So props to her dad for not finding me in a dark alley somewhere and just beating the crap out of me, because that's probably what I would want to do if I was in his shoes. So God bless you too, man, for for giving me the benefit of the doubt, or just, I don't know, the Holy Spirit tying your arms behind your back or something. But man, I'm glad. I'm glad that we made it this far. So here's what helped me change. Okay. The mistakes I was making is my attitude was terrible. And I contribute that to high pride. My pride was through the roof. And if you ask people from before, I got out of the military and I came back and I was hanging out with some of my old buddies from school that I grew up, just childhood friends. And it wasn't until later that they admitted to me that it was like, man, you were just angry. Like you were angry all the time. And I could just see it. I could tell, I could feel it. And it hurt me to think that, man, even my own my closest, my best friends could see that in me, and it affected them so much that they felt sorry for me. Man, that really impacted me. And I didn't know it till after the fact, but man, it really just, it hurt me in a different way. And it hurt me because I was just like, why didn't I see it? If I would have only noticed it sooner, I could have made things differently. Because it's sad when even the people that love you the most just see that you're in a dark place and they don't know how to get you out, and they don't know how to help you. And it was tough. It was tough to hear that. So my pride was through the roof, terrible attitude. My priorities were out of order and what it meant to be a man and to prioritize my family. My partying was out of control, right? I was a workaholic, and that helped me justify my partying, because it wasn't like I wasn't earning it, is what I told myself. I work hard to make a living, so therefore I deserve to enjoy my time. I deserve to go out and party. I deserve to have that drink. I deserve to spend my money how I want to. Now, if I look back, poor money management, I was racking up bills and credit cards. I was so bad that I would go to, like, I don't know if I'm dating myself now, but back in the singular days, I'd get a phone, because, you usually get the best deal in the new phone. Go get a phone, just not pay it. And then when they would shut my account down, I would just go to a different place, get a new phone, get an account, and I'd just keep my same number, not pay it, go to another place. And it finally caught up to me when these big companies started merging. And then once they started merging, they're like, oh, wait a second, this debt's coming up on your account. And I'm like, oh, gotta go, see ya. And it was just, that's how bad I was, just irresponsible with myself and finances. So now take that into consideration. I'm a single father, poor money management, spending my hard-earned money on alcohol, beer, partying. I had a son to take care of, and don't get me wrong, he had what he needed, but how much better would I have been positioned, and how could I have taught him much better if I would have been able to manage my finances well? What position would I have been in? Because when I married Vanessa, she married me and my debt and my pride and my poor attitude and me being a workaholic and my partying. She married all of that, all of my drama. And so maybe she was blinded by love. I don't know. She'd have to tell you her side of the story, but that's not a good position to start off with. And then let alone having a new relationship, blended family. So it wasn't like we had this time to get to grow and to learn each other. I came into the relationship. She has a son. I have a son. I think I'm right. I think I know everything. My pride is through the roof. My priorities are mixed up. I'm putting work first. I think that I know what I'm doing. My finance, give me the money. I'll take care of it. Disregarding her opinion, not even valuing Vanessa's opinion because she doesn't know what I know. I've been around the world. I've been in the military. I've seen and done some things. Like, you just go ahead and you go to the corner, raise the kids, and I'll do the man stuff. Like, that was my attitude. So mixed up. Such an idiot. When I say it now, I'm like getting embarrassed for myself. Man, it's crazy. And all the while, I was putting my best foot forward. As crazy as that might sound, I was giving it my best, giving it my all. Wow. That was the best that I had to offer until God came into my life. And when God came into my life, I got the whole package, man. The whole thing. Here's what I got the moment that I gave my life to Christ. Followed a girl into church, trying to get at the girl, thinking that I'm all that, think I'm all cool, whatever. I got it going on. So I don't know what's about to hit me. I go in, I freak out, I leave, I'm hungover, right? But I go back. First service that really impacted me, all in Spanish music. I have no idea what it means. I have no idea what it's saying. All I can do is cry. all I can do is cry. And I'm just like to the point where it's like I can't even see because there's so many tears coming out of my eyes, and I'm like looking at myself like, bro, get it together. People are seeing you right now in this state, crying the way you're crying. Like what would you tell yourself if you could see yourself right now? And I was literally having those thoughts. I couldn't control it. It was just like this years of things that I've oppressed, and years of anger and frustration and regret, and these feelings of loneliness and abandonment. And I mean, I'm talking deep stuff that I didn't even know I had, stuff that I didn't even know how to identify. I didn't even know what I was feeling. It was like coming up to surface, coming to mind. And it was like if I could see it, it was as if I could see the words in front of me of the thoughts and feelings that were going through my head. It was a really weird thing. And I don't think I've ever even explained that to people, but it was a strange feeling. But here's the beauty of it. That was when accountability started. That was when God was revealing to me the things that I'd been doing wrong, the reasons why I wasn't successful in life, successful in marriage, successful in relationships. Because between my previous marriage and Vanessa, I had tons of promiscuous relationships. I mean, I was just having girlfriend after girlfriend, and I would feel like, why is everybody so much drama? Why does everybody have all these issues? What is wrong with people? Like, where are the good ones at? And I know I say this all the time, but it's so true. Never realizing that the common denominator in all these failed relationships was me. I was the common denominator. I'm the problem. And so God started holding me accountable, and I had this conviction in me that I wanted to be better. Like I said, Vanessa did something to me. Like, I wanted to be a better man when she was around. I wanted to be a better person. And so God helped me to achieve that. He told me what was wrong with me. He showed me where I needed to improve and what needed to go, what ways of thinking I needed to adopt. And I want to share this verse, and I appreciate if you made it this far. I want to share this verse, and this is really the key that helped me turn things around. And if you're struggling in your relationship right now, perhaps your husband is in the same situation that I was, pray for him. There's hope. There's hope for change, and I'm living proof of that. People were praying for me. My wife was praying for me. Vanessa cried and got advice and just prayed and said, God, I don't know what to do. And she really made an impact in my life, both spiritually and in our relationship. Like, if it wasn't for her, I don't think that I would have made it this far. If it wasn't for my pastors holding me accountable, I don't think I would have made it this far. If it wasn't for my family that was supporting me, I don't think I would have made it this far. And the friends that I've developed, the Christian friends, right? And I only say Christian because that's my faith base. So they're like-minded people. Before I was hanging around with like-minded people and I was leading a destructive life, now I wanted to be better. So I'm finding like-minded people that are in a position that I want to be. They're 10 steps ahead of me, light years ahead of me, but I'm hanging around with new people to adapt new ways of thinking to become a new man. And here's what I want to read. I want to read out of Psalm 1. This is the kind of man that God is teaching me to be even still. And being this kind of man has produced so much good in my life as a consequence, right? We have good consequences and bad consequences. Making choices based on what God is calling me to do and the advice, biblical advice, the advice of the godly men that God has put in my life, I am who I am today. Here it is. So they're giving me the advice and I actually start applying it. Go figure that. You do things differently and different things happen, right? So Psalm 1 says this: Blessed is the one who does not walk in step with the wicked, or stand in the way that sinners take, or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Imagine that. When you turn your life around, you give your life to Christ, you start being accountable. God teaches you that before the fall comes what? Before the fall comes, high pride comes before the fall. So imagine that. High pride, the way I was before, no wonder I couldn't get ahead. Before the fall is high pride. If I'm living this way, being this kind of man, not hanging out with the wrong crowd, not hanging around with people that are going to do dumb things, going out at dumb times, putting myself in places that are going to get me in trouble, right? I'm not doing any of that stuff anymore. And go figure, there's less drama in my life. Imagine that, funny how that works, right? So I'm refocusing my attention on God's promises, on God's word, biblical advice, hanging around with godly men, family men that make their wives and their children a priority. And it starts changing me, right? My pride is coming down. I'm humbling myself, right? I mean, I'm like crying in front of people. I'm not saying that that's what you have to do, but it was a humbling experience to just understand and realize that I'm a broken man, broken down. And as a result of that and being humbled, like, man, there is so much freedom in that, because now I don't have to be the angry tough guy. I don't have to perform for anybody for accolades or rank, or perform for people to make them think I'm a hardworking, good man. I don't have to put on a facade and be a hypocrite and wear these different masks so people could think that I'm this really great guy, a really good father, that I'm without blame, that I would never do anything wrong. I don't have to live up to those fake standards anymore. I could just be myself, even in my brokenness. And that was so liberating. It was so freeing, because I could be me, be broken, just humbled, just realizing that I need so much help, and people loved me just for who I was. God loved me just for who I was. And that just set me free from these false expectations that could never be met. I started to reprioritize my life, and I realized that spending time with people was valuable. That it wasn't just in giving yourself over to work for people that don't even care about you or love you the way that your family does. Those people at work, right? And God bless work, because we need it to provide and we need it to pay bills. However, I don't think there's a child in this world that would say, yeah, mom and dad, I don't need you here. You go ahead and make the money to buy me stuff. Like, kids could care less about stuff. You know, you could take a baby, perfect example. You can buy them the most expensive gift. They're probably so much happier with the wrapping and the box. They could care less what's inside. They just want to be loved. They just want to love you. Your wife, your husband, they need love. Like, they need affection. That's where we should be investing our time. And I'll just give this last advice that somebody gave to me, and I'll be done. Somebody really great, my pastor, he told me this. He said, you can do 3 things with time. Time is your most precious commodity. You can never get it back. He said, if I ever give you $5-10 for gas, you don't have to thank me. Money comes, money goes. It's meant to be spent. But if I give you my time, be grateful. Say thank you. Because when I give you my time, that's something that I could never, ever get back. And he told me, you can do 3 things with your time. You could waste it, which I think a lot of us do, right? Not fulfilling our potential, not being a loving parent or a loving spouse, just letting the stresses of life and the drama overcome us. And we forget about just choosing to be happy, choosing to spend time with our family. Second option is you could use it wisely, right? You can develop a wonderful career. You can be educated, and you could go and study abroad, or you can travel the world and earn a wonderful living and get wealthy and do whatever. But what does that leave you as far as legacy? What does that do for the family that is looking to follow behind you? Or you can choose option number 3 and invest it. Invest it in other people. Invest it to teach others what you learned along the way. Teach your children about where you came from, about who you were and who you are now. Don't be ashamed if you have some scars. Don't be ashamed if you have some dark moments in your life. Those are the moments that we need to teach our children about so that they can avoid the mistakes that we made. Invest that time into your children. Teach them to play a sport. Teach them to be a gentleman or to be a lady, to be modest, and what it means to wait for love and what true love really means. It shouldn't have anything to do with anything sexual. Teaching your family or showing your wife or your husband that you're for them, you're with them, you love them, you're investing in them, putting them first, making them a priority. Not just in getting yourself lost in work, but saying, you know what, boss, I promised my kids that I was going to be at the recital. I promised my kids that I was going to take them out to eat. I promised my kids that I was going to take them out to the park. And it might seem so insignificant. You have that pressing matter at work that just needs your attention. But I tell you what, if we died tomorrow, they would just hire somebody else. They would hire somebody else to pick up right where you left off. But where would your family be? Invest your time. Invest in your spouse. Don't make the mistakes that I made. While we're trying to figure it out, kids are waiting for us to get it together. Our kids are waiting for us to love on them, to give them our time. Our spouse is waiting to be made a priority, to be put first for once, to know that we're still here and we still love them. We still think they're attractive. We still appreciate them for what they do, and realize that for every second that you're not at home and you're sacrificing, I get it. You're working hard. You're doing what needs to be done. But just understand that there's an equal sacrifice that's happening on the other side when your kids are waiting for you to get home. Your spouse is waiting for you to get home. That's also the sacrifice that's being made. Love your family. I'm going to pray. I hope this blessed you, and I hope this meets you right where you need it to meet you. And if you need anything from us, we're here for you. You can reach out to us anytime. You follow us on social media. You can send us an email, whatever. Just look us up, Grace Family Love, one word, and love is spelled L-U-V. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube, obviously, but also if you just want to shoot us a message, you can gracefamilylove@gmail.com. Vanessa, she's really monitors the Instagram. If you want to send her a DM or just let us know how we could pray for you and what needs you have. And we'd be more than happy to pray for you specifically and be that kind of support for you. But God bless you guys. God loves you. Your family loves you. And I don't know where you're at in your relationship, but there's hope. If I'm here where I am today, it's because there is hope. God is good. God is ready and willing to say, let's start again. Pray. God is the only one that could change the heart of a person. God is the only one that can change your spouse's heart, change your spouse's mind. Meanwhile, pray and work on you to see how you can make those steps to move forward. Lord, I thank you for the people that are listening today. I thank you for everything that we've gone through, but to this point to help us get to where we are. I pray that you would just bless them right where they're at, that you would help them walk through these difficult moments in their relationship. Help them have the peace and the patience that it takes to allow time for prayer and for prayer to work and for you to be allowed to work in their lives. I pray that they would just give it all to you at this moment and allow that your goodness to touch their hearts, but also to bring this healthy conviction in the mind and the heart of their spouse to want to just do things differently, to want to love differently for their spouse and their children's sake. Lord, I pray that you would help bring about a change, and a change that would produce fruit, a fruit of love, peace, and patience, kindness. I thank you for all that you've done in me, for all that you're continuing to do, and I pray that same change for the people that are listening. Lord, would you just be with them? Help guide them through these difficult moments. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, you guys, I appreciate you. I love you guys. Thank you for those that made it all the way through, and for those that have been subscribing to us and our new subscribers. We really couldn't do it without you guys, and we are truly here for you. And our whole goal is to just help you get to the point where we are now. If you're ahead of us, God bless you. We could use your advice, honestly. If you are right where we're at, we just would love to walk with you. And if you're a few steps behind us, we're here to support you, to help you get to where you want to be. All right, so our goal is to just help you stop surviving and start thriving. God bless you. We'll see you next time.